Victory or death! Give them hell!
Good morning, ladies and gents. Back with another Conquerors Blade video. This time around we're going to be looking at the Huskarls, how to build them and actually what they are going to be good for. Before we get into the video though, hit that subscribe button if you want to be kept up to date with the latest and greatest of Conquerors Blade. So the Huskarls are the tier 4 unit coming into season 12. They are currently unlockable, however you cannot play them yet for another few days until the seal lifts in terms of the matchmaking battles and everything like that. However, you can play them in custom battles, which means you will be able to play them in the CB Rivals tournament this week, and that has been confirmed by CB as well, that the new unit will be playable. So if you are actually looking at learning how to play this unit, what is going to be the best way to actually play this unit and everything, then keep tuned because I am going to go into that right now. Now, starting off with all of the doctrines, what I have done with the doctrines is I have made sure I have buffed up the slashing damage, the slashing penetration, the block ability, and then just a couple other kind of unit damaging the unit damage doctrine, and then a little bit extra to piercing and slash and defense. So it just gives them that little bit of sustainability within melee. Now these guys are, I think, going to be quite good, and their veterency line that I have gone through is the top one. This one gives you right at the end a ability which will affect or inflict a bleed damage, and it stacks up to 3 times, which should pump out a lot of damage very, very quickly, especially if you manage to actually burst off all 3 parts of your Skald song, which is what I'm going to go into in a little bit. Going through all the other lines, I don't think really the other 2 lines are that kind of viable. I don't think that they're going to really improve the Huskarls or actually make them that much better for you. I did decide to actually put a couple points into the defense on the 2nd line rather than going down into the blunt damage on the 3rd line. I think that little defense, that little bit more sustainability in melee is going to help a little bit more than that additional kind of bit to the blunt damage. If it was slashing damage, I probably would have gone for that, but that first node on the bottom line is just blunt damage, unfortunately, so I've kind of stuck with a bit more defense for these guys. Looking at skills, obviously while we're in season 12 they are going to cost you a little bit less leadership. Their Skald's Wall Song is their main kind of ability, and again I'm going to go into this and break this down a little bit more for you in a minute when we're actually going down through the gameplay footage. They also give a buff to the season 7 units, so think the Sons of Femra, the Shield Maidens, and the Berserkers. I have tested this, and thank you very much to Starburst, who is a guy in my house, thank you for coming over and helping me with this. And I did notice that the Shield Maidens glowed when they actually came under the Skald song, which makes me think that yes, this is working as intended. This should increase their slashing armor penetration, their movement speed, and their blunt armor penetration as well. It's quite good, but there is a real drawback with the Skald song, and that is what I'm going to go into now. The Skald song is going to buff up through different stages your Huskarls. Each stage will come with its own unique ability as well, and with that, if you manage to buff up all 3 stages, you can pop their stage 3 ability. As soon as it drops down to stage 2, the cooldown on the stage 2 ability will be instant. You can pop that off again. Stage 1, instant cooldown, pop that ability off, and then you can actually keep on going from there. The Skald song, however, even though it increases all of your damage output and everything like that with the Huskarls, does put you at a disadvantage while you are singing it. It will increase the damage they get by 50%, I believe it is, which is a huge amount of damage extra to increase. This is once the Skald song is actually being chanted though. Once the Skald song has actually finished, that debuff leaves the unit, and then you will be able to play with a unit which has a buff, movement speed, attack damage, all the rest of it. So it is worth doing, but only in times and places where they're not going to be hit by archers, where they're going to get butt rushed by other units. If they do, they are not going to survive very, very long at all. Like I said, each of the 3 stages of the Skald's Song comes with its own unique ability as well, and each time you drop down a stage, when you are actually going through and fighting stuff, the timer kind of ticks down on each stage. Once you drop down a stage, the ability on that stage will become an instant cooldown. You'll be able to pop that off straight away, which is really, really useful, because if you time it right and you time it well, you can pop off 3 skills within about 8 to 10 seconds with these guys, which will pump out a lot of damage very, very quickly. While they do not have Skald's Song aura on them, while they're just kind of in their basic normal format, they do have somewhat of a cover commander skill as well, where they actually kind of make a kind of wedge formation in front of the commander, and then they will literally follow you and just fight everything that gets near you. So it is actually quite a good versatile unit, and I do expect to see these a lot in the CBL or CBR tournament this weekend. So the CB Rivals tournament, I think a lot of houses are going to be using these, possibly in conjunction with the Season 7 units as well, depending on what their buffs are going to be in the next few days. I can see these guys being used quite a lot. Their block is pretty good, their defense decent. It's not great, but it's decent for what it is. But I think their real output is going to be their damage, and the fact that they can just get in somewhere and pop off 3 different skills really, really quickly to actually really hurt stuff like a lot, and very, very quick as well. They kind of just go hell for leather for a little bit and just really, really fight stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see how people play these. Hopefully you have learnt and picked up a bit through this kind of video for them as well. Unfortunately, because we can't play them in sieges and everything yet, I've not been able to test them properly, but I have tried as best as I can in the unit training with my housemates, all the rest of it, to try and get as best footage and as best kind of knowledge of these guys as possible. I've put a few hours into them now, so I think I've got a really good understanding and idea of how to play them. Like I said, prioritize offensive values and offensive stats for them, but put a little bit of defense into them as well, so they can kind of they're prolonged in sustained melee. They're not going to be going toe to toe with Reapers and things like that. I think the Reapers and really heavy offensive kind of units like that are possibly going to really destroy the Huskarls, but that is not what they're intended for. These guys are fighting similar tier kind of units, buffing themselves up, plus their Season 7 compadres as well. And I think with those buffs, their output is going to be fairly high in comparison to units of a similar tier. Like I said, the more we play these actually in the matchmaking battles though, and I may make a video again in the future on these guys, but I just wanted to get this video out there now so people could have a really proper good look at them before people start unlocking them properly. I think they are going to be widely used for the next few weeks at the very least. Thank you very much for watching though, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this one. As always, if you could hit that like button, hit that share button, all that lovely fan-dooby-tastic stuff, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.